Konnichiwa and good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League for round three of the Formula College World Championship. We come to you live from the Tsukuba circuit in Japan for our Japanese Grand Prix, our shortest circuit of the season for the Formula C equivalent of short track racing. This is the first time Formula C has been to Tsukuba, but our drivers are no strangers to the mountains and valleys of Japan. In fact, last season's Japanese Grand Prix was held at the Okayama circuit. But we turn our focus this year to the north side of Tokyo at the base of Mount Tsukuba. This track, as you see on your screen, is the shortest of the season, a mere 1.27 miles or 2.04 kilometers long, and also has the fewest corners of any circuit on the schedule at 9. 5 turns to the left, 4 to the right, and 3 sectors on this relatively flat but fast track lie ahead of our drivers today with 3 major overtaking opportunities. Lap times at this track are lightning quick, sub 1 minute at around 53 seconds apiece. A lap here at Tsukuba goes by very quickly, immediately presenting our drivers with the hairpin turn 1, our first overtaking opportunity of the lap. The S's of turns 2 and 3 follow, then a quick, steeply banked left-hander turn 4. Turns 5, 6, and 7 wind and bend to set the drivers up for our final overtaking opportunity into turn 8, a parabolic hairpin. The drivers then exit onto the backstretch and go into a long, flat right-hander before coming back out onto the pit straight to start it all over again. And Josh, the short track racing of Formula C, I am excited to see what show our drivers are going to put on tonight.
I am as well. I think that we've got a really exciting field. It's going to be a lot of cars in a little space tonight. We tested that theory 2 weeks ago at Laguna Seca and found out it was pretty action-packed. But I think this track will be more so, if only because there's a lot of left back and forth. In fact, you can see the sector that these cars are now exiting after turn 1. You get that nice hairpin that comes up right after the S's after turn 1. That's going to be an area that drivers are going to be side by side and surely have to establish expectations on who has what position and how to negotiate the traffic there, as you can be outside and out of position for one turn and then in a really good spot for the upcoming event. So that'll be one to watch, and something that'll probably provide some argy-bargy up and down the field. You can see as we see Muhammad Alif from Ball State University getting his qualifying lap in right here. This is where cars are going to want to be side by side. This is a passing zone, and who can get their wing in that little space first? And a little bit of cold tires up on the curb there. And then this is where drivers can really carry the throttle. And Zach, I think it's a lot of fun. But right here, pretty technical little turn. It's a little bit of an early apex, and you'll see drivers wait, and then right there try and grab that and come off basically as straight as they can from that corner. And straightening out that corner there is going to allow drivers to make the most of this long straightaway that goes down into the final turn. And Zach, you mentioned it, so easy to lose speed and so hard to get the maximum speed through this corner. And if you have trust, you can put your car out on that extra convenient green painted run out. So Zach, this is it's a really fun track, and I think these drivers are going to have the talent to match.
Yeah, Josh, you can see, you saw right there coming out of the final corner, Muhammad Alif using every bit of that curbing right there, and a little tumble right there goes Alif. We mentioned cold tires, cold track as well. There's a ton of grip out there on the racing surface as it's extremely cold and overcast and slightly windy out there today at Tsukuba. But Alif having some trouble right there handling that banked corner, relatively steeply banked for this being a road course, as we're now looking on with Athena Leclerc from St. Clair College, currently provisionally sitting P5 in the standings right now, just actually almost 0.6 of a second off of our provisional pole sitter Nicholas Daly from UT Arlington, putting in a 52.58. That was a blistering fast pole time right there, going sub 53, which honestly I didn't think we would even see tonight. But you can see Athena Leclerc taking every opportunity she can to stay behind the 169 machine of Jeremy Miller and from Purdue, who tangles right there with another car in the qualifying run, trying to use that toe down every straightaway she possibly can to make that lap faster. But now that Millerin got caught up in that incident right there, she's not going to have the toe for this big, long backstretch. You can see very wide entry into the hairpin. Misses the apex right there, but is going to carry a little more speed down this back straightaway to try and set herself up really well for the final turn. This long sweeping right-hander, you have to be extremely patient getting back on the throttle. Very wide entry, clip the apex on the curbing right there, and then use almost all of that green curbing to the outside that you can use. And that was a pretty good lap. It's going to secure her P6, right? Actually, she did not improve, excuse me, but still a good lap. She was green in that final sector coming through that bye. So still some room for improvement from Athena Leclerc, but we'll look back towards Cale Davidson, currently sitting P3 right now on the grid with about 5 minutes left to go here in qualifying. That left-hander, banked left-hander, got a little loose right there through the center. I think that seems to be something that all of our drivers are struggling with tonight. Despite the track having a lot of grip, these cars are very loose out there, Josh. Not a lot of steering control.
Well, it is, and that's kind of the nature of the beast here at Tsukuba. There's enough kind of funky off camber or maybe on camber, but a little bit of tricky wheel inputs. The optimal wheel input being a little bit tricky, as you can see right here. You want to get on kind of late, then get on the curbing, then just get off. As you see the other Ball State car, Cal Davidson, as Zach, as you mentioned. It is tricky to get around this joint and do so well and efficiently. It's really easy to heat the tires. It's really easy to scrub. It's going to be a little bit easier for our folks tonight who are dealing with these, I'll say, nice and balmy, except a little bit of a push right there from Kale. Very cool track, Zach. It's under 80 degrees. I think we saw it was 78 or 75 degrees Fahrenheit or so. So that'll be something that these drivers will have to help them. But yeah, Tsukuba typically, and especially in these open wheel cars, veteran iRacers will recall the Skip Barber car was pretty popular here, and it generally is a handful. It's a small little track. It's almost a simple little track, but unfortunately, or fortunately for viewers, it can be a handful at times and at speed.
One quick update from our live stewards. Jeremy Millerin has been handed a pit start penalty for sprint race 1 for that incident that we saw a couple minutes ago involving a couple of other cars there on track. So the 169 from Purdue will be starting in the pits for this race, which may not be a bad thing considering the usual calamities that happen in turn 1, lap 1 in these races, but also we can see some drivers struggling with that fourth corner, the banked left-hander. A lot of drivers oversteering the car on exit, really struggling to put the grip down and point the car to come out of the turn right there. But here's somebody who really hasn't had any problems with that we've seen. Nicholas Daly from UT Arlington has lost out on that provisional pole position. Muhammad Alif set a time about 400ths faster than Nicholas Daly, so he's on his outlap right here, going to try and see if he can re-secure that pole position late into this run. We're approaching just past, 9.5 minutes out of 12 minutes elapsed here in qualifying. That time by Daly did not improve on his time. 52.543 is the time to beat. He put up a 52.7 as we're riding on board with Nicholas. You can see just a kiss of the curb right there and a slight tinge of oversteer on exit. Again, we've been seeing that all night. Going to avoid the parked car in the middle, hug this left line, all the way swing out. And on an approach of the corner right here, entry, get all the way to the inside of the curb, get outside as quickly as possible to put the power down. You can see quickly up through the gears down this blistering fast back straightaway. Almost deceptively long, too. So you can see him entering the corner right there. Nice and wide entry, going to carry all the momentum he can. Come down and kiss the curb. Use every bit of curbing he can on the exit, and that does not change. 53.9, 0.2 slower that time by for Nicholas Daly. So it looks like Muhammad Alif will hold on to the provisional pole position for the time being. We're going to see if his teammate Cale Davidson, also from Ball State, or Luis Diaz from Florida International, maybe Carmine Caruso might have something to say about that as we look at that St. John's University car right there, that beautiful black, white, and red machine. He's going to come out of turn 4 right there, get on the curb, very aggressive on the curb through turn 5. Turn 6, hugging that white line down this short chute into the penultimate turn, the hairpin. Not going to take as much curb. We're going to see if maybe that helps out just a little bit, but getting out on this back straightaway, carrying all the momentum he possibly can to set himself up for this final corner. A very, very pivotal corner here on this track. Tenths can be made and lost with how well you take this touches the curb to the inside, swings it as wide as possible to the very edge of that green curving, and he will not advance his position, sadly, but still a very good, very quick lap right there. We're seeing a lot of 53, 7, 8, 9 times coming across the board in qualifying here, Josh.
Yeah, these drivers are finally getting their final times in, but maybe at a point, Zach, where the tires are a little bit hot, and they've been out for some time. So as we can see, these drivers getting in. Yeah, Muhammad Alif and Ball State looking really good up on top. The gap not super small, not super large, but 400ths of a second. And in fact, I think that will conclude. And so, Zach, we will get ready to run through the grid, and I think you can bring it to us here.
Yep, let's take a look at your starting grid for tonight's Japanese Grand Prix here at Formula C. Muhammad Alif of Ball State University secures the pole position to his outside title rival, Nicholas Daly from the University of Texas at Arlington. Cale David, Alif's teammate, will start behind him in that number 17 machine. Luis Diaz will find the second position there on row number 2 for FIU. Carmine Caruso, St. John's University, will start 5th. Alexander Diamond, P6 for Drexel University. Zachary DeWale, St. Clair College, will start P7. His teammate, Athena Leclerc, in that 61 car, will start to his outside. Cohen Evans from IUPUI will start 9th. Soren Burkholder from Valpo University starts 10th. Lucas Santos from Minnesota Twin Cities will start 11th. Nicholas Patinella, Robert Morris University, starts 12th. Christian Hill makes his return to Formula C from Mount St. Mary's off of the 13th position. Jeremy Millerin will start actually not in 14th, but will start from the pits due to that penalty he accrued during qualifying. Andrew Williams will start in the 15th grid position for Clemson University. Ishan Bassin from Beloit College will start gridding 16th. Michael Tognati from the College of San Mateo starts 17th. Then Jason Wallet from Drexel, Tyler Klingesmith from Robert Morris, Andrew Burrell from Clemson University, Nick Stockner from Clemson University, and Peter Gaspich from Clemson University will round out the rest of the field. So the Clemson cars have a lot of gap to make up here for the start of Sprint Race 1, and I believe we are almost ready to go. 10 seconds left in this gridding period. The lights are on, and we are about ready to go here for our Formula C Japanese Grand Prix. The engines are revving, the cars are fired up, the drivers are ready to go. The lights are on. Green flag. And away we go here at Tsukuba Circuit. Muhammad Alif gets out to a great start. Nicholas Daly tails close behind him. Great start for all three of those cars up at the front. But his teammate, Cale Davidson, will get to the inside of Nicholas Daly through turn 1. Luis Diaz secures that 4th position from Carmine Caruso as they're single file heading into this banked corner for the first time. It's the two Ball State cars leading single file at the front of the field. Still some action here through the back of the pack. You can see those two St. Clair cars. That's Athena Leclerc in front of her teammate Zach DeWale, separated by Cohen Evans in that 37 machine. And man, what a lot of action we have seen already, almost just halfway through lap 1.
That is, and the University of Minnesota around in that hairpin, Zach. We said it was going to happen on the first lap. That's Lucas Santos in that Gopher machine. But back up at the front, you can see Carmine Caruso there on your screen being hounded by the Florida International car. Believe that is Luis Diaz in 5th place. You can see up on your screen. So Caruso trying to hold off that 4th position at the moment. Also really good to know that Ball State cars have gotten out to an early lead, and surely, Zach, I'd imagine some team orders would say, please play nicely even for the first heat here that we have in CIL. And so these drivers continuing to compete. Actually, Peter Gaspich as well has gone around in that 43 machine. And Zach, we are not surprised, I don't think, at the amount of contact, especially back in some places in the pack. You see great shot running down into the corner here. Nick Patinella going to be in that red, white, blue on the outside from Robert Morris University. Bit of a wide line, but he's going to straighten out. Now he's got a little bit of draft and toe. Can he do anything with it into this corner? It's really flat, and Zach, it's not a great place to take a bunch of risk. And these cars don't have a ton of downforce, but they do have a little bit. And it really goes away in any car, even those old Skip Barber cars where you go into that flat corner. in the final corner there here at Tsukuba. So that's the running order now. As you can see, the gaps, no need to calculate. They're there in front of our eyes. And these schools trying to get sorted out and figure out where they want to place their cars and where the line is. The track right now isn't too worn in. And so it's going to be a little bit green, and these drivers are going to be able to figure out how to compete on board with Zach DeWale. You can see he's having a peek. He's looking and trying to get by the Alexander Diamond car from Drexel University. We know a lot of speed, both in that 02 and in that St. Clair College camp, Zach. And so these drivers are going to try and get around. In fact, he can look up 2 spots and see his teammate, Athena Leclerc. Would be nice for those two to get up 1-2, get it as nose to tail at least, as 1-2 is the running order for Ball State University. And so going to be a little bit of strategy here for these drivers. Zach, it looks like down into the hairpin. FIU going to have a look.
FIU working all over the back of St. John's University right there, but St. John's, Carmine Caruso will come out with the advantage there, gets a better run out of the banked corner of turn 4. But yeah, Ball State right now, they're absolutely where they want to be. This is going to be a masterclass showing from them, at least for these first couple of laps. About to start lap 5 of 23 here in this first sprint race. You can see Cale Davidson playing the Indiana Minister of Defense card right there against Nicholas Daly from UT Arlington. Going to try and get around that Davidson machine so that he can potentially have a whack at Muhammad Ali for the lead. But there you see the gap in front of Davidson to his teammate over a second now. Alif has pulled out in front of P2 and P3. Nicholas Daly still in a position to attack. Another overtaking opportunity coming here, a little too far back to make anything work. But there he's going to get a little bit of a better launch, going to take a wider line, a better line here into this second set of S's to set him up for the final hairpin. Nose almost underneath the tail of Davidson. He's going to have a look right here, going to outbrake Davidson. Yes, he will secure the position into the corner, but Davidson's going to get a better exit. Can he make this work? Gets the toe down the backstretch. Daly's going to force his hand as Davidson looks high, but Daly's going to secure that inside line for this final corner and keep Davidson clear behind him. And now UT Arlington can go to work on that second Ball State machine, as the lead is now a second and a half thanks to that fight. And it looks like we have a car off right there. That's the FIU machine of Luis Diaz. So he's going to lose more than a few positions right there, as he's going to fall to P9 now into the clutches of Soren Burkholder from Valpo University. But three cars were able to get by, as I believe that is Zach DeWale has gone for a spin, and a car narrowly avoiding him right there. I believe that was Luis Diaz, who just barely got around the 0-2. He's going to wait to make a safe rejoin and come in at the very tail end of the field. So 8th to, 19th right there. A little mistake, a rare mistake out of that St. Clair drivers. We're going to get a replay to see what happened. But it looks like this is the condition that a lot of drivers have been struggling with so far in this Grand Prix, is this banked left hand turn 4. You can see his teammate, Athena Leclerc. He was able to get around Alex Diamond to be able to try to work with his teammate Leclerc. But you can see just the laziest of spins there through the center of the corner. And luckily, he was able to get it locked up and get it parked to keep it away from any cars or barriers. Luis Diaz, a good heads-up move right there to drive around the back of the 0-2 to miss that car. But it doesn't look, as we look kind of back up towards that position, Alexander Diamond is not really within striking distance of Leclerc, but he does have the threat of IUPUI's Cohen Evans behind him. Was going to try and take a look that time, but couldn't outbrake that Drexel University machine, but is going to probably have a look this time going into the final corner. There you can see the presentation of attack to the inside a little earlier on the brakes, so maybe Evans misjudged his braking zone right there, but that doesn't really matter because he still has a lot of time left in this race to take that position away, Josh.
Yeah, he's got some time, as we see maybe a lockup there from Drexel University. But I don't think, Cohen Evans is a veteran driver and also a veteran of CIL being around before the pilot season and during that time. And so he's not too concerned. He's got a good race IQ, motorsports IQ that will allow him to make the move when the time is right. But right now, Drexel University is holding that line. Really solid move from Nick Daly in Texas at Arlington. several laps ago. He set it up, early in the lap, completed it really, coming to the finish line again. And Zach, I think that is another trait of Tsukuba here, is that like short tracks in ovals that we see where you may not complete that pass in one corner. It is really all about setting up the pass here. As you see a little bit of a gaggle trying to get around. Both cars trying to get around right now. This 61 of St. Clair College. That's Athena Leclerc behind the wheel of that Griffin machine. And now, and a bit of a lock up there, but really in a good defensive spot at the end of that corner, and just stacking up this field just a little bit. Zach, my spidey senses are tingling as we go into the penultimate corner, this big hairpin where it is easy to get out of control. And I see Diamond really heavy on the brakes. In fact, a little bit of accordion right there. Some would say the Coriolis effect. I think Diamond a little bit slow at the apex, and has really hung out Cohen Evans, who now has to play defense on the inside. He does so against Valparaiso University. Soren Burkholder in that yellow and black machine. And you can see right there, Nick Pontinello, Andrew Williams there in P9 that we saw a big dive to the inside of the corner there, right to the apex. And that's these cars. These 5 haven't actually traded position, but Zach, it feels like they have.
Yeah, and I'm thinking back to what F1 Grand Prix was it last year, where I believe it was Lance Stroll had the train of cars behind him for quite a few laps. This is reminding me of that right there. You got a lot of cars behind Athena Leclerc chomping at the bit to try and take that position from her, but currently her defense just too good for any one driver to get around her right now, and a lot of jockeying for position behind that St. Clair car as well. But it's still St. Clair, Drexel, IUPUI, Valpo, and Clemson in that 5-car train right there, respectively. You can see that orange wheel racing machine of Andrew Williams, a regular in the College Cup Series, and typically a front runner there, but it looks like he's making a Formula C start tonight, so out here having some fun for those Tigers. But stuck behind this train right here, led by conductor Athena Leclerc and the St. Clair College Griffins. But this is certainly a battle that's going to heat up relatively soon, as we are working on lap 11 of 23. As that actually, oh no, commentator's curse strikes as Drew Williams has an off there. I believe that was coming out of the hairpin, or out of the banked hairpin, as he caught a piece of that inside wall. Looks like he was able to get that car dislodged and continue to roll there. So now a 4-car train reduced from 5 in this battle for the 5th position. Just a quick run through the field. Alif is on top by almost 2.5 seconds right now to Nicholas Daly of UT Arlington. Ball State runs 3rd with Cale Davidson still 2.5 seconds behind Daly. Then Carmine Caruso from St. John's University and Athena Leclerc locks out the top 5, and still all to play for behind her is now Alexander Diamond and Cohen Evans go 2 wide right there. Alexander Diamond had a little bit of a lockup into the banked corner right there, but is going to keep that car ahead of the IUPUI machine, who is going to try and outbrake him this time into the hairpin. Makes the move stick in turn 8, and now Diamond is at risk of losing another position to Burkholder from Valpo into turn 9 this time. We're going to see if Burkholder presents an attack. Going to play it a little conservative right here and wait for that chance to come to him. But a mistake right there out of Diamond is going to lose him that 6th position.
Yeah, and IUPUI with a really good move. Bit of a bold move, Zach. There was a lot of pace being carried into that corner, and Alex Diamond elected to give room, and everybody lived to see another day there. But that was pretty tricky. I think if contact had been made or something happened, I think the Jaguar machine would have to take some responsibility. But these drivers decided to play politely together, and so that's one. Is I think there's a damage. That's a Ball State car.
Oh, that is no. That's
St. John's University and Carmen Caruso.
Carmen Caruso. Looks like he's picked up some damage there.
Yes, picked up some
look
damage.
At that front wing.
That is not the toe that they put on that car at the shop, and you can see it does not like to get around that corner right there. As yes, we talked about this part of the track. Same thing. A little bit loose right here, perhaps into the grass.
Got into the grass. Ouch.
It seems so simple, Zach, but it's so easy to do with the way the pavement undulates in the way the car moves, especially as you get on the gas and you are transferring a lot of that weight to the rear. And sometimes you expect, and especially that cambered corner feels really good when it hooks up and that car turns as you expect. But every once in a while, man, that front end just wants to go straight, and that's what it did for Carmen there. He got on the grass, and you saw the result right there. But yeah, I will
Yes.
say the gap up at the front, 2.6 seconds now, slowly growing. So Ball State comfortably in the lead with our Muhammad Alif at the wheel of that machine and at this race. And then Texas at Arlington has been opening it up over Cale Davidson. And so Texas at Arlington just in between those drivers right there. A little bit of action now as we see Cohen Evans trying to make his way past that 61 machine. A little bit out of sorts coming into the hairpin and had a good advantage.
Relatively clean race right now. We've only had 3 retirements so far excuse me, 4 retirements in this event so far. Bassine, Diaz, Tognati, and Caruso all in the pits. But Josh, that's just a testament to the skill level that it takes to pilot these cars. These F4 cars are easy to pick up. Anybody can hop in one and drive one, but to race one out there on track at the limit on the very edge of grip against all these other great drivers in the field, it takes so much skill. As we're going to take a look at another battle right here. That's the Mount St. Mary's car of Christian Hill looking to the inside of the 888 of Andrew Burrell from Clemson University. These two Orange Wheel Racing teammates going at it here. Not from the same school, but in a technical alliance together. Maybe some team orders here. Or just some friendly fighting as you see Christian Hill going to the outside of Burrell. Burrell defending that inside line. Hill's going to get the better run down these S's into the banked corner. We're going to see what he can do with it here. Burrell gets the advantage on the brakes, but Hill's got the better line and the better exit actually coming out of the corner. But a little contact right there in a shunt, and Burrell is going to retain that position this time, but this battle is going to continue heating up as I think that is going to let another Clemson University machine, Nick Stockner in the mix, and the two make contact. Hill and Burrell make contact. Burrell did a great job to keep that car from going around and to try and mitigate damage, but now you've got to be thinking the aero damage on that 085 and the 888 machine, and the 888 has gone off. You saw right there the damage has affected his ride, and Andrew Burrell takes a ride into the grass off of turn 9. Hopefully he will be able to continue to keep that car going, but Christian Hill obviously suffering some aerodynamic damage as well, as he's now slipped into the clutches of Clemson University's Nick Stockner behind him, as well as Zachary DeWale from St. Clair College on his recovery drive back up to the front after spinning. And I think we've had a spin in the hairpin.
That is
Alex
Diamond
Hyman.
at Drexel University. Yep, those two have been going back and forth. You can see the on your screen there. He didn't come out on top of that scenario. Also, a lot of contact between 12 and 13, Purdue, and also Drexel University. A little bit down the tower. So lots of racing up and down the tower right here. Looks like we're going to get a chance to view one of them. We see Alex Diamond and Drexel University, and we see Soren Burkholder and Valparaiso behind. Going into the final corner, we know it's tricky. Just locked it up and looped it. Good on Valparaiso University to miss that right there, if only by inches. But nonetheless, these cars fighting for position. Looks like Zach DeWale trying to look at Nick Stockner. And this is important. This is for 10th place. This will be the inverse. So who gets to be the pole sitter in race 2? Big slide right there from St. Clair University. But Zach, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't my favorite part of running at this track in these cars. You can see right there, Nick Stockner holding on as best he can right now, as looks like actually Jason Wallet and Jeremy Millerin a little bit up the field are also having their battle. So again, second race in a row, Zach, there's really no shortage of action here on track with these F4 cars.
And I want to say Nick Stockner versus a St. Clair car to secure the reverse pole position for Sprint Race 2. I believe we have seen that before at last season's Finger Lakes Grand Prix at Watkins Glen. Nick Stockner was able to get the invert pole off of a St. Clair car. Don't remember exactly who, but we're going to see if he can pull it off for the second time in his career, as we're now looking at this battle for the 12th position. Jeremy Miller and Purdue University trying to fend off Jason Wallet, your Daytona 250 champ in the College Cup Series, as well as Lucas Santos. So three very good drivers right there defending that position. But oh my gosh, who is that? That is Nick Stockner that has gone around. We have to see what happened there, but very good hands from Millerin and Wallet to miss that car parked on the exit of the turn. We're gonna have to take a look and see what happened to Stockner right there. Just as I commentator cursed him again. Man, it's 2 Clemson cars of commentators cursed tonight. I need to not do that. But here's Jason Wallet looking to the inside of Jeremy Miller and a little too far back to make that lunge. Millerin, I guess, thought he was to the inside, going to take the defensive line around turn 1 through the S's here again. Jason Wallet just a couple of tenths off of Millerin, so in a position to strike at any given point. Both of those drivers keep it clean through turn 4 and onto the second set of S's to set them up for the final hairpin. And Lucas Santos in that UMN machine sitting back there is licking his chops, waiting for these two to go side by side to slow each other down. There's a lockup right there. Millerin locks up the right rear tire. That's going to let Wallet take the inside line away and get a... I thought he got a good run there down the back straightaway, but couldn't make anything work. He's going to look to the inside here, though. In turn 9, he has the position, and they almost make contact, the two of them, but they are side by side through this final corner, and it's a dead heat across the stripe for that position, for that 11th position there on track, and Lucas Santos is now in a position to strike. These two running side by side, just as we said earlier, is going to let him in this fight, but they have single-filed themselves out again. Jeremy Millerin makes a very late block on Santos, who decided to make the lunge to the inside, and Santos actually got that 12th position from Wallet. Wallet did not have a good turn 4 right there, but we're going to see if he can do the same thing that Santos did, wait for these two ahead of him to get side by side one more time, and that's going to allow him back into the battle. But Jeremy Millerin still retaining that 11th position as we are about to come to the white flag.
Coming to the white flag, you can see that gap. Alif just managing the gap right now. He's got a lot of gap to manage. Thina Leclerc is going to try to be in a good spot. You can see this battle for 10th, the battle for 10th right now. Christian Hill has it locked down. Is actually trying to get 9th position, but doesn't want to be too aggressive. Give that up. I see, Zach, a lot of these cars, as we're on the white flag, 2 to go, I think, are...
White flag this time by.
A really deep line or shallow line into the corner. And so they're not carrying as much speed as they could. But right now, Purdue University and Jeremy Millerin doing his best to keep both cars behind. I know Santos in that Gopher machine is hungry. University of Minnesota, again, around for the second week in a row at the outset of this race. He's going to try a late apex. Can he get a run off the corner, back in the slipstream? I think that's pretty far back, Zach, as these drivers come down into the checkered flag at this time.
You can see Muhammad Alif there at the top of the field. He will very easily secure this Sprint Race 1 win, as you can see through the final time here through the final corner. Muhammad Alif will be your Sprint Race 1 winner after putting on a clinic here. Led every single second of every single lap. Nicholas Daly will finish runner-up to Alif. Cale Davidson, Alif's teammate, secures the 3rd position, but still a lot to battle for as we look back at this battle. You can see Cohen Evans will secure the 4th position. Soren Burkholder expected to finish 5th as well, but still this battle for the 10th position, the final invert spot. Who will start on reverse grid pole? Looks like it's Jeremy Millerin for the time being. We're going to see if Lucas Santos and Wallet have anything to say going into the final corner. Here's the lunge from Santos. He will not get it to stick as Millerin defends impressively through the final corner that time. And it will be Jeremy Millerin 3 wide across the line. Will secure the 10th position and the reverse grid pole for Sprint Race 1. For Sprint Race 2. And wow, what a race we saw right there. Up until the very end, 3 wide across the line for that final position inside the top 10 there, Josh.
Yeah, that was an awesome move from Minnesota. What they were trying to do right there, Lucas Santos was trying to pull Purdue out of position, basically. Was probably, one of their best plays. They were pretty far back for a straight-up lunge. But that was his goal. He tried to get, and he succeeded in pulling Purdue out of position, shallow into the corner, and then kind of marched onward. Tried to duck back inside, but yeah, that start finish line, not far enough, unfortunately, down the way as Zach. As it looks like we have some heat results here if they do come up for these drivers, and then we may even be able to talk to our race one winner.
Yeah, our Muhammad Alif, your Heat Race 1 winner, is getting out of his car to come talk to us. So hopefully we'll be able to speak to him here in the next few minutes as these drivers are going to get out on track and do a little bit of warm-up here before sprint race number 2. But there you see the results on the screen. Our Muhammad Alif of Ball State University stands atop the podium for sprint race 1. Nicholas Daly from UT Arlington secures the 2nd position. And Alif's teammate, Cale Davidson from Ball State University, will finish 3rd. Cohen Evans from IUPUI finishes 4th. Soren Burkholder from Valpo will finish 5th. Athena LeClaire secures a 6th place finish in sprint race number 1 for St. Clair College. Nicholas Patinella, Robert Morris University 7th. Alexander Diamond finishes 8th for Drexel. Zachary DeWale with a really an impressive recovery drive fell down to 19th position after a spin early in the race, recovers up to 9th place where that's the position he spun out of. For St. Clair College. So great drive from him in sprint race number 1. And the final top 10 finisher, Jeremy Millerin, will secure the invert pole position for sprint race number 2 for Purdue University. And I believe we've got Alif ready to join us here in the booth. It's our sprint race 1 winner, our Muhammad Alif. You got a copy?
Yep.
Hey, congratulations on yet another victory here in a sprint race here in Formula C. We saw a masterclass from that Ball State 12 machine out there on track in sprint race number 1. We saw a lot of drivers struggling with a couple corners out there, specifically turn 4 and the hairpin of turn 8. What's it like out there on track right now? What have you learned?
Yeah, true. I mean, the tire seems to overheat, I think, and the rears kind of just go off. So you have to really play with the brakes and manage the braking, the trail braking of these cars. So yeah, I mean, I can understand that it was tricky for me as well, just holding it in front and yeah, battling with the lap cars.
Congrats on that win there of the first heat race. As you go through and try to battle up now through traffic, you start, I think, 10th position or so for the next heat. We've seen a lot of maybe a lot of traffic, but a lot of incidents in the race. How do you stay clean as you go back to try and pass all the cars?
I think just being patient is going to be key here, not making any silly dives, which I hope I don't. So I think that's going to be absolutely crucial for me and for the rest. It's a long race. I think it's a 30-minute race. So yeah, anything can happen. Hopefully we don't get collected by any incidents.
Yeah, indeed. Well, best of luck out there. It's going to be an exciting 23 laps to see how you get on. But congratulations again on the win for the first heat, and best of luck in the next one.
Thank you.
That was race winner our Muhammad Alif and Ball State University on top of the podium after the first event of the CIL evening. So these drivers are going to try and re-rack their cars and get set up for this next one. Drivers out having a bit of time for warm-up. If you don't want to fill up your water bottle, you can go and see how the track is progressing, or maybe where you can take a little bit more risk with the car. But yeah, that'll be something to watch, Zach. So at this point, yeah, go ahead.
And Josh, before we get started with the sprint race number 2, there storyline that I want to bring up. For those of you who are Formula C familiars this season, you'll recognize the string of dominance that Ted Burns has had. Well, Ted Burns is not with us tonight. He is currently in Sebring, Florida, testing out some Porsche Cup cars, as well as a couple of other fun IRL motorsports activities. So all of us are jealous of you, Ted, if you're watching. We miss you, and we hope you're back next time, but we hope that you're having fun. But if you're our Muhammad Alif or Nicholas Daly, you got to be thinking, phew, what a relief that Ted's not in this lobby tonight. But all of these drivers will have one drop week in their final points tally. So the lowest scoring series of sprint races that a driver has, their lowest Grand Prix, will be dropped from their record. So Ted Burns burning his drop week for the Japanese Grand Prix, and for good reason.
Yeah, I was going to mention that for sure as we get into the second race. Generally, those drivers, Wisconsin's Ted Burns, as well as Ball State and Texas at Arlington, usually have something to say for each other. And Zach, we're gridding, got about 2 minutes to go. Let's have that final starting grid.
Your starting grid here for your second sprint race in the Japanese Grand Prix is the inverse of the top 10 finishing order of sprint race number 1. So as we said, Jeremy Millerin of Purdue University will start on pole for this sprint race. Zachary DeWale finished 9th in sprint race 1. He will start to Millerin's outside pole for St. Clair College. Row 2, Alexander Diamond from Drexel University and Nick Patinella from Robert Morris University. Row 3, Athena LeClaire from St. Clair College and Soren Burkholder from Valpo University. Sorry, Soren, I will pronounce your name correctly one day. Cohen Evans from IUPUI will start 7th. Cale Davidson will start 8th for Ball State University. Nicholas Daly from UT Arlington will start 9th. And Muhammad Alif takes that last top 10 position with his sprint race number 1 win. And I believe all the cars are gridded. We are ready to go. The lights are on. The engines are revving. The drivers are ready. And the lights are out. And off we go. Barney throws the green flag here at Tsukuba for the second time tonight. Jeremy Millerin gets off to a great start. Zachary DeWale establishes himself to his inside there, but loses out on the corner as he got a little loose on entry right there. Still trying to warm up these cold tires. You can see that Drexel University car behind the leaders right there. And this is Soren Burkholder under attack from both Ball State cars here into turn 4. These two Ball State machines working together extremely well. Almost pulled off a 1-2 finish in sprint race number 1. They're going to be looking to try to do that again. But now a battle for the lead. Jeremy Millerin versus Zach DeWale. Millerin has the inside line through the hairpin for the first time as DeWale goes a little wide. Into the grass he goes. He's going to lose a ton of positions right here. In fact, we'll drop all the way back to the 7th spot, but a silver lining there is he is in front of his teammate Athena LeClaire as both of them will try to work their way up to the field. And you can see the two Ball State cars working together in 6th and 7th, going to try and tick off as many spots as they can. Who is that? It's Davidson has made contact with Soren Burkholder, and it's a pileup in turn 1. Lots of cars involved. Nick Stocker, Jason Wallet involved. I think I saw Esteban Munoz, but Cale Davidson getting the worst of it all as he made contact with that Valpo car in turn 1 and loses out on almost every position in the field.
Yeah, really tough play right here as these cars, you want to be really light on the brakes. You know the brake bias is rearward and these tires cold. Yeah, locks up, goes straight, and there was a car there, Zach. So really big braking events. Muhammad Ali, again, he's down the running. Yeah, a little bit of trouble right there for those cars. You can see right there the scene of the crime. Jeremy Millerin still your leader as we get on with Zach DeWale. Zach DeWale, you heard him start, but he's already climbing his way back up the field, trying to work on Valparaiso University, get that St. Clair machine around. A bit of unfortunate for Nick Daly and Ted. Internet loss, internet failure as we see Zach DeWale on your screen, just tossing out the grass just a little bit. And so a couple developments. That's going to be a 20th place DNF for Nick Daly and Texas at Arlington in the second heat after such a good run in the first heat. Right now, Muhammad Ali sizing up that St. Clair car. Can he get a run down into the corner? It wouldn't be too far for a lunge. He's going to try and reach out, give him the fake, and then back into this corner. Yeah, I think that was okay. He's got time to make this move. You heard Alif say he's got the pace, Zach. He doesn't need to force these moves with 4 of 23 laps completed at this point.
Yeah, and huge developments very early on as we're now on lap 4 of 23 in the second sprint race. The big one there is a disaster day for not St. Clair. Ball State in these opening laps, one of their cars has already returned, I believe, to the pits, has come out with the repairs, but Cale Davidson is behind by a lot now, and I believe we're gonna pay attention to Alif to see how much damage he has on that machine, because he did make contact with his teammate, and also Nicholas Daly with the internet issues that will force him to retire. So I guess you could call that a mechanical failure on that UT Arlington machine equivalent. But here's the battle for the lead right now. Jeremy Millerin defending like a lion against Alex Diamond. Purdue versus Drexel, two engineering schools going at it right here through turn 1 on lap number 5. Millerin not having to put up with much of an attack from Diamond that time by, but this should hopefully change in the next few corners. Diamond with a wider entry, going to stay off the apex, get a better exit for these S's coming up. Millerin still out in front. Diamond, Patinella, Burkholder, DeWale, Alif, Leclerc, Santos, Evans, and Williams in your top 10 now. And I'm looking down the field and I see a couple of Clemson cars stacked up there at the bottom of the top 10. Look for those two to work together to get up to the front of the field, as well as those two St. Clair cars in Leclerc and DeWale, now separated by Muhammad Alif in 5th place. As here's the battle for the lead once again. Jeremy Millerin defending that inside line against Alexander Diamond, lap 6. And we're going to see if anyone has anything for anybody this time into turn 1. Yes, Muhammad Alif is going to go down to the inside of Zach DeWale. Almost caught the back bumper of Burkholder from Valpo. That Valpo car proving to be a brick wall tonight, taking all those hits and still going. But you can see DeWale locked it up just a hair. Will lose out not only on the position to Alif in turn 1, but also to his teammate Athena Leclerc through turn 4 that time. And now coming under fire from Lucas Santos, who looks to the inside here into turn 8. The hairpin can't quite get a move presented that time by. But now the two St. Clair cars once again stacked up, one in front of the other, and look for them to use teamwork and maybe some team orders to try and get up to the front.
Yeah, and up at the front, a lot of that battling has allowed.
Spin off of turn 9.
Trouble. Looks like Nick Patinella from 3rd place spun, got a little bit loose right there, and we know we can do that.
And gosh, who was that?
Safe rejoin as he was just trying to manage that relative. Yeah, and then toes it. Really unfortunate, as you can see. That's gonna clear out.
That was the 124 of Nick Stockner that hit him.
It allows these two drivers to battle, so as we go through, kind of getting to the midpoint of this race, as we get to lap 10, you can see right back up there, great shot as Alexander Diamond, no stranger to going fast in these open wheel cars. It is fun to see after the invert who gets to be up at the front. I figured Millerin would have pace. I wondered who would keep up. Muhammad Alif right now, Muhammad Alif, 4th place for Ball State University. He'll get there. He'll get there eventually, and really fun right now to see him work. I see that the Diamond a couple times has a plan down into turn 1 to kind of look inside. It causes. Look at this. Line up a little bit tight. And contact with Valparaiso. Drexel and Valparaiso get together through the hairpin. And the order does not change as we go to the final sector of the lap. But a few incidents for these cars, and you wouldn't want any damage there. I think everybody a little bit late on the brakes. This has allowed Muhammad Alif to get up in the mix. Ball State University trying to chase down Drexel and Purdue for the lead. A couple of Indiana schools here trying to make their way into the final quarter. All the time in the world for Muhammad Alif. Maybe he lets those tires cool just a bit. Important to note that Valparaiso, Zach, has also backed up and is now trying to fight back for 4th place, but not give up a position there. 6th place, as those St. Clair cars use a little bit of tactics and get underneath there for the win. But yeah, Muhammad Alif now going to try and get around that Drexel University car. Drexel University taking a wide line. Bit of contact right there. And 3 wide, we go into the contact again between the open wheel cars. And that's
goes Alif.
Ball State through to the front, and that'll be Alif to the point. Jeremy Millerin, Purdue University, going to try and close the door. And it looks like St. Clair there, and Zach DeWale backs out.
Jeremy Millerin and a couple of other cars right there made some contact. That was the Diamond car that you saw get up into the air after the wheel-to-wheel contact with the Millerin Purdue machine. And you saw the chaos that happened. They were 3 wide off of turn 4. Hopefully we'll be able to go back and look at that. But through went a Leaf. You heard him during his interview talk about patience and waiting. And he sure waited for that opportunity to come to him, gifted on a silver platter, courtesy of Jeremy Miller and Alex Diamond. So a Leaf, once again, familiar position back up to the front, and now Miller relegated to that second position, going to try and stay up as close as he can to the front of the field, now coming under fire from Zach DeWale. Here's another look at this incident. You can see Diamond got the run into the corner. Miller got out in front. You can see a Leaf there in third. Miller actually got loose, came down and blocked Diamond, and the two just made contact going for that position, jockeying back and forth, and both cars vying for the same piece of real estate. And you know, when you come together, the one car is going to go flying, especially when you touch wheels. And unfortunately, Alex Diamond in the Drexel University machine got the short end of that stick. But a Leaf is now gapping, to say the least, the field now, and now has a 2.5-second lead over Jeremy Miller. And once again, we can see the train forming behind that Purdue machine. But now Zach DeWale going to have a look at it, as now he concedes. He makes a little sloppy of a move right there, almost conceded the position to the UMN machine of Lucas Santos running third right here. And now he gets turned. Miller gets turned by DeWale. He makes contact with DeWale and goes sideways into the corner, and that is going to let Burkholder go through for the second position.
Yeah, these drivers battling hard in the second race. Tradition. Soren Burkholder brings Valparaiso University to second position. Zach, you said Muhammad Ali had a bit of fresh air and got out of Dodge. Yeah, I would too. If I had the lead of this race, I'd want nothing to do with any of this mess behind me. But right now, P2, Valparaiso University, followed by St. Clair College, University of Minnesota, and those drivers are going to have to negotiate their way right now out of the hairpin, through the kink, and determine who can get to the end in one piece. Yeah, bit late on the brakes. You know, a shallow dive maybe into the hairpin that we saw here. Millerin moved to defend. That's the tricky part, Zach. These are not the Cup cars that we saw last night at Watkins Glen. These cars are a little bit more fragile and can be knocked out of shape pretty easily as we see this replay.
Here's the move that ended it all for Jeremy Miller. And you can see under attack from Zach DeWale. DeWale went to the inside, maybe a little too eager of a lunge, but Miller with an extremely late block. And he actually is able to continue his car to keep it going, but we got to wonder how much damage does that Purdue machine have on it. Here's now a battle for the third position. This is Zach DeWale with Lucas Santos on screen, and you can see who is that Clemson car. Is that Andrew Williams? Has now come into the mix. He is currently running in the fourth position, looking to secure his first ever Formula C podium finish and the second overall for Clemson University in this competition. But this is going to be a battle that heats up as all 5 of these cars locked in that train. And what has happened to Soren Burkholder here? We must see maybe a little bit of a spill. I wondered what Zach DeWale was doing all the way up in second, and it looks like, oh man, Burkholder just lost it on entry, and DeWale with nowhere to go, so the two just smacked front ends together. And that's what allowed all of those cars to go through, and now Burkholder relegated to that 5th position on track.
Yeah, as these drivers go through the hairpin, it looks like they've actually kind of worked out some spacing for the time being. We know Ball State up at the point leading the way. That should be a race in hand there for that driver, Muhammad Ali, and that team. But yeah, you can see Clemson right here trying to keep the spacing from Valparaiso, and also try and work their way up as Minnesota. You know what? Lucas Santos, Zach, I got to acknowledge, Lucas Santos went around on the 4th turn of the first lap in the first heat and has brought that Minnesota machine up to the 3rd place and has a really good case for 2nd place here as we go into the mid and final stages of this race. That's commitment, especially after Laguna. Tough luck in both races. But right now, Cale Davidson trying to get to the inside of Drexel University, and that'll be a move for position Ball State University. And so that move is complete. That was around Alexander Diamond. Again, we saw those two we saw Drexel University and Diamond battling ahead. Christian Hill now trying to move into the corner there. I believe that is around Luis Diaz and Panther Esports as those drivers try and get through and figure out who's first into the hairpin. But Luis Diaz, Zach, is going to have a little bit of damage with that. I was going to say he's got a good toe right here, but that is not how that team set that wing up. And that's going to affect how he gets on down into the final corner, and especially how he gets around this long, sweeping, flat final corner at Tsukuba.
And Josh, as I'm sitting here in the booth, I'm hearing a lot of crunching and crushing coming off of turn 9. Actually, I heard it right there, and I keep thinking that, man, there's an incident somewhere on track, but it's just these cars jumping that almost excessively large green curb off of turn 9. So I gotta kind of condition myself to not freak out every time I hear those noises. But as we go back on track, this is Cohen Evans staring down the 61 of Athena Leclerc going into turn 8 this time by. And Cohen Evans will take that position, but not for long, says the St. Clair driver. Athena Leclerc to his outside, going to try and set up a move to regain that position in turn 9. But Cohen Evans is going to have that preferred inside line and will keep Leclerc pretty clearly, significantly in his rear view mirror. But Leclerc is actually going to get a great run off of turn 9 down the front stretch. Can't really put together an attack into turn 1 that time by. And I think this battle is done and dusted, at least for the next couple of laps. We're going to watch Leclerc and see if she can get a run going once again to try and take that position back that she just lost. Here is Peter Gaspich from Clemson University. This is the battle for the 14th position with Klingensmith up ahead. Klingensmith from Robert Morris University is defending that 14th position from Peter Gaspich. Peter Gaspich, I believe this is his first Formula C race. So the rookie is out here putting some laps down. Great to see more drivers in the series. Another Clemson University driver. I feel like we're back at season 3 or 4 where we see a Clemson driver out on the field. So good to see that they found strength in numbers tonight. Those Tiger drivers from Orange Wheel Racing. But going back up to this position, Athena Leclerc has remounted an attack on Cohen Evans, trying to stay within a half a second of that IUPUI machine to make a move as these laps tick down. 5 to go next time by in this sprint race number 2, as Athena Leclerc has a bit of a shunt coming out of the banked turn 4. Not sure what happened there, but I saw some tire smoke and she was really slow. And now Cale Davidson for Ball State is going to try and get around her while she's off pace and off momentum.
Yeah, down going to get the toe down in the final turn. A little bit tricky right there. Athena Leclerc and Cohen Evans early. Got to commend them as well as some who gave up some time early on. Cohen had a spin in that banked turn, and then those two have made it up quite nicely. But back under fire here. Ball State is trying to work on that 61 machine that you see there. Closing the gap ever so slightly. Feels like there might be an opportunity for a run. A little bit of a wiggle right there from Leclerc. But down into the hairpin we go. And it feels like into the final hairpin or the final corner of this track could be a run, depending on how Cale Davidson wants to split it. You wouldn't want to make a pass, have to do a little slide job, and then provide a tow to the car behind you. That looks like under braking. Will it be done? He's going to try and put the nose in. Leclerc gives room. Leclerc maybe left more room than I would have, but trying to drive politely. We always commend that, as Alif and Ball State run their fastest purple lap on the top of your tower. But that's Ball State University position taken for P8. That is a pass completed, I think, unless Athena can go down very deep into turn 1. She has a look, but yeah, I think that's going to be preferred line to Ball State. And that is that. Cohen Evans, though, up ahead, trying to work on Jeremy Miller. You can see trying to come off this corner a little bit straighter. So more battles from Indiana State. No stranger to motorsport, but those Jaguars going to see if they can try and make a move on those Boilermakers, Zach, with just 3 laps to go at the top of your tower.
The time is winding down for these drivers to make the last moves that they can for that last position. You can see battles all up and down the back stretch. There's a battle all the way going into turn 9, but we're focusing on this battle right here between Jeremy Miller and Cohen Evans. Like you said, 2 engineering schools from Indiana going at it. I feel like we talk about engineering schools from Indiana this entire race. Seems to be that they have a pretty decent lockout on the field between all of them. But Jeremy Miller taking the defensive line through turn one that time by, going to keep Cohen Evans in his rearview mirror. Cohen Evans with a solid lunge, going to get a much better line through the banked corner, but has to lift off the throttle because Millerin got slow through the center. So maybe some unintended great defense from that 169 machine up in front of the 37. And now Cohen Evans going to look to the outside of Millerin as Millerin once again goes defensive in the hairpin. 21 laps complete, 2 laps remaining when these drivers come across the stripe. Cohen Evans with a run, nose almost completely underneath the rear wing of Millerin, and now both drivers go wide on entry, but Millerin is able to keep a cleaner line, and the 37 behind him. And this is one heck of a battle that we have heating up as I'm looking towards the front of the field. Muhammad Alif has once again driven away with the race. He has a 9-second lead over second place Zach DeWale, Ball State, over St. Clair College. As next time Alif hits the stripe, it will be 1 to go, but we're going to keep an eye on this battle for the second position. Zach DeWale defending his P2 against Lucas Santos from UMN, who has had an incredible run today. We saw his bad luck last week at Laguna Seca. We saw the finish where he and Ted Burns made contact in sprint race 2 in the very final corner of the race for the win. And now Lucas Santos currently in third on the podium, but he is always hungry for more as these drivers take the white flag in sprint race number 2 that time by. We're going to see if Lucas Santos has anything for Zach DeWale. DeWale takes the defensive line. Santos with the nose cone underneath the rear wing of DeWale that time. We're going to see if he can get a better run into the hairpin. Doesn't look like it. He's got the braking, but DeWale stays ever defensive. St. Clair College putting on a defensive masterclass. Santos is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at DeWale, and it looks like this is going to be the kitchen sink coming at him this time as he goes to the outside, going to take a much wider line through the hairpin. Has to lift because DeWale defends to the outside. Can't quite get the toe, as I believe Muhammad Alif will cross the stripe and win sprint race number 2 in the Japanese Grand Prix. He will sweep both sprint races, but who will second place go to? It is going to be Zach DeWale of St. Clair College, and Lucas Santos will round out the podium position as Cohen Evans literally throws the kitchen sink at Jeremy Millerin, comes across the line sideways, but will still take home that 7th position over Cale Davidson. And what a finish we saw right there for so many positions inside the top 10, Josh.
Yeah, that was really solid from those drivers, and Cohen Evans using all the grip on the track and the grass, trying to get set up there. Yeah, obviously Alif masterclass this track. Zach, this reminds me of Jamie Lawrence's performance at Silverstone so many races ago. I don't think anybody was getting to Muhammad Alif on his day today. With that, yeah, Lucas Santos and Zach DeWale, awesome run. Love that defense from the 0-2 machine. That's what he had to do. He saw that he had pushed the Minnesota machine to the outside, and he knew that that was what the Minnesota machine was going to do. So Santos going to the outside, and DeWale beat him there. And you can see if anybody deserves to burn it down today, Muhammad Alif. Let's not forget that Alif and Ball State made it through a little bit of excitement there, Zach, in the opening stages of the races to get around both their teammate, some stopped cars, and make the best of that. So we'll get to talk to him in a minute here, Zach, but he said he was going to be patient, and he had to be, and he was. He really did it all today. So your winner from Ball State University, Muhammad Alif, with a bit of a drive to remember, in my opinion.
Yeah, Alif once again. This is, I believe, the second weekend sweep for a Grand Prix that we've seen this season in Formula C. Ted Burns was the first to do it at our season opener, the British Grand Prix. And now Alif has walked away with both sprint race wins in Japan here at Tsukuba Circuit. So a great day for Alif and Ball State, despite having that little tangle with Cale Davidson on lap 1 of sprint race 2. And hopefully we'll be able to get to talk to Alif about that in the near future. But as of right now, we're going to go ahead and talk to our third place finisher,
Oh.
Lucas Santos out of the University of Minnesota. You got a copy?
Hello, hello.
Hey, man. It's great to have you in the booth for the first time this season. Congratulations on your podium finish in Sprint Race 2 of our Japanese Grand Prix. We saw the war of attrition that it took for you to secure that position, including the fight with Zach DeWale right there up until the very end. Take us through that fight.
Yeah, so as you said before, it was basically a race of attrition. I had to keep my head in the basically in the right track, and make sure that we're always having eyes looking forward. I'm very thankful for my crew in Scoochie Moose Motorsports who have always helped me out whenever it comes to races like this, and always crewing for me. So I want to say a big thank you for them for keeping my headspace in. But yeah, it was always that trying to pick out those last moves and that battle with Dewell and I was just trying to see when can I do that final move that everybody's looking for. And he completely read me like almost every corner, and I try to do everything that I can in order to get a great exit onto either the back straight or the front straight, just to get that final move done. So it was honestly a great battle that we had.
Yeah, congratulations on the finish and the comeback tonight, Lucas. We saw at the beginning of the first race, probably not how you would have scripted it, but awesome, awesome comeback, as you said, to focus forward, bring that finishing result home. Tsukuba is an interesting track because it's very flat. In that final corner, is it a lot of downforce that is lost on the car as you follow somebody through that corner?
It kind of is, yeah. I was talking to some of my crew, and they were saying like, yeah, dirty air is kind of a big thing there. But what I found was it's a lot of when do you take the apex. So every time when it came to either that last lap battle with Dewal and I, or whenever it came for me going up the field, it was how early can I kind of lift off so that way that exit can be as straight as it can be, and make sure that we can focus on that front straight. So yeah, there's a little bit of downforce loss when dealing with that dirty air, but a lot of it deals with how late or early do you take that apex and go onto that front straight.
Well, awesome. And again, congratulations on P3. Before we send you off, it wouldn't be a CIL interview without asking you who you wanted to thank and shout out and made this.
Yeah. So want to say a big thank you again to Scoochie Moose Motorsports. They've always helped me on all these races. I want to say a big thank you to you guys. It's always great fun battling with everyone, and it's great being up here again. Can't wait for hopefully more times up here, or just great battles that Dewal and I had with other drivers. I want to say a big thank you to all my friends here at the U. It's been a great semester, or second semester really. Being with everybody and all the support that comes here at the U is honestly great. All the partners that we have at Scoochie Moose Motorsports, Operation Motorsport, Rose Simtech, Moto Emotion, Sports Car Travel, everyone. Want to say a big thank you for their partnership with us and all of their support for our team. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, congratulations again on your your third place finish here in sprint race number 2 of our Japanese Grand Prix. Go out. We're gonna let you go celebrate with your teammates, man. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you, guys.
That was your third place finisher, Lucas Santos from the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. He will secure some big points not only for himself but for his school in the constructors championship as well. Josh.
Yeah, and it's good. The University of Minnesota and Lucas has been a contender for a while. Awesome to see the result come through whenever a driver achieves that level of success. Now with us tonight, Zachary DeWale, the 02 machine finishes P2 here at Tsukuba, and Zach, congratulations. It was a little bit exciting out there, and textbook defense there on the last lap.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really good battle at the end there with Lucas. Yeah, honestly, I wasn't planning on running this race today. It was just kind of the way things worked out for me today, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, congratulations again on your P2 finish, Zach. We saw. I'm going to ask. In fact, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Lucas Santos just now. We saw that battle right up until the finish line with you and him duking it out for that second position. What was going through your mind trying to defend against him? He said, and I don't want to misquote, but the paraphrase, he said, he read me like a book and knew every move that I was about to make. So give us your key to that defensive masterclass.
Well, my thing is with road racing, I'm not very fast, but I'm pretty good at getting in the way. So I tried my best to do that today, and it just kind of worked out. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to pass around the outside here at Tsukuba, so I just tried to take the inside away from him, and then I didn't want him to cross me over, so I tried to not park it on the apex, but not get on the gas just as quick to just kind of be in the way a little bit, and it worked out for me.
It certainly did. And one more question: we heard a couple of drivers, especially our Muhammad Alif, during his interview after Sprint Race One, talk about the tires overheating in combination with the track conditions. Did you find anything change between Sprint Race One and Two? Did you learn anything that helped you certainly navigate those tire temperature problems, but also just the track itself?
Um, nothing that I really noticed myself. I don't have a whole lot of experience in these cars anyway to really be able to pick out like the little small differences in the car. Um, I feel like I did learn a lot in heat race in the first race because I made a pass into turn one and then I looped it in the next corner. So it's I learned I can't quite send it in the corner as hard as I was in the first race, and yeah, so we did learn a bit, but not as much as I probably would have if I had a bit more experience.
Well, it sure worked out for you in the end. Zach DeWale finishes second on the podium in tonight's second sprint race of the Japanese GP. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
For sure, I'll shout out Jordan Brooks, my friends Emily Riley, everyone at home. It was fun.
Congratulations again, Zach. We'll hope to see you soon.
For sure, thank you.
That was Zach DeWale of St. Clair College securing some huge points for both him and his school, sitting second on the podium tonight. And I believe, Josh, it is time for the man of the hour. Once again, a familiar face up here in the CIL post race show booth. Our Muhammad Alif of Ball State University got the job done twice. Someone get him a broom because he swept both sprint races. Alif, you got a copy?
Yep.
Well, we heard you in your first race talk about how you needed to be patient and avoid the incidents to get back up to the front, and you did exactly that. But we saw a scare on lap one with your teammate Cale Davidson getting tangled up in an incident with a St. Clair car. What was your mindset kind of after that incident? Was it did you go on damage control, or was it just oh, that happened, time to get to work?
Yeah, kind of just putting it behind me and then just yeah, refocusing my mind and just because Kale's on the Discord with me, so I'm just telling him to head down, keep pushing because there was like 22 more laps to go. So yeah, it was just yeah, time to get the job done, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Well, congratulations, of course, on the win. And really impressive tonight. I don't think anybody was getting to those lap times or that raw pace. But yeah, you mentioned as you came through and in between the races that it was a tricky with the tires. Did you find that the track changed in the second race? Was it hotter?
We actually got cooler. It dropped by I think 8 degrees Celsius. So it got faster and faster, which is probably why I could lap into the mid to low 52. So yeah, I mean it wasn't yeah, I mean the tires held up quite nicely, I'd say. I was pushing a little harder, trying to find, the ultimate pace of the car in race trim. But yeah, it was good fun.
Well, it was fun to watch. We were very impressed. So before we send you out, is there anybody that you want to thank or made this possible?
Yeah, my parents are in Singapore. They're watching the race now, so big thanks to them. Kale, my teammate, who I think we got our first 1-2 in the students class in race one. So testament to all the hard work that Ball State is doing as a team. as well as our team esports director Dan Marino, for setting everything up and yeah, leading the team. And yeah, and the viewers for watching. I'll catch you guys in 2 weeks for the Formula C Championship.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and yeah, congratulations on a stellar run tonight. Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
That was our Muhammad Alif and Ball State University. Zach, I said it. I'll say it again. I don't think anybody was getting to that pace. Really good job from him tonight.
Yeah, that was just a masterclass in driving from start to finish. We know last season, Alif battling with Jordan Johnson just ever so slightly lost out on the inaugural Formula C championship, but it looks like he has come to play this season. He's had a string of incredible results, the sweep and the double tonight in Japan, and I'm excited to see where both he and Ball State continue and how they continue in their success in the upcoming races. So I believe that will do it for us. Let's take a look at our final results from Sprint Race 2 in the Japanese Grand Prix. Your winner from Ball State University, Muhammad Alif, walks away on top of the podium. Rest of the podium, Zachary DeWale from St. Clair College and Lucas Santos from Minnesota Twin Cities. Andrew Williams finishes fourth for Clemson University. That is his highest finish in Formula C. Soren Burkholder for Valparaiso University brings it home fifth. Jeremy Millerin, after starting on pole for sprint race number 2, a solid sixth place finish for Purdue University. Cohen Evans, IUPUI in the 37 machine, will finish 7th. Cale Davidson for Ball State will finish 8th after the tangle at the very beginning of the second sprint race. Good recovery drive from him, as well as Athena Leclerc, who had an incident in sprint race 1 and 2, was able to drive her way back up inside the top 10 for a 9th place finish. And our last top 10 driver for tonight, Alex Diamond from Drexel University, also recovering from a spill in sprint race number 2. So good recovery drives all across the board in the top 10. A little further on down, Christian Hill in his return to Formula C racing finishes 11th for Mount St. Mary's. Luis Diaz from FIU will finish 12th. Jason Wallet, Drexel University, finish 13th. Tyler Klingensmith from Robert Morris University will finish 14th. Peter Gaspich in his Formula C debut finishes 15th for Clemson University. Michael Tognati for College of San Mateo will finish 16th. 17th goes to Nicholas Patinella for Robert Morris University, and Nick Stockner, after getting caught in an incident, will finish in 18th, 17 laps down for Clemson University. A little further back in the field, I believe we're going to try and see the rest of the results. Yep, there they are. Andrew Burrell from Clemson University in the 888 machine will finish 19th, and Nicholas Daly, after a mechanical failure / internet issue, will finish 20th for UT Arlington. And Ishan Bassin and Carmine Caruso did not take to the grid for sprint race number 2 for Beloit College and St. John's University, respectively. And Josh, as we are about to wrap up here tonight, what are some of your final thoughts as we are almost halfway through the spring 2023 Formula C season?
Well, I think that we're really excited, maybe treated to a lot of good storylines. I mean, we've seen Wisconsin and Ball State battle. We've seen Texas at Arlington and Wisconsin battle. We've seen all three of them battle each other. We had a couple 3-car battles tonight. The last couple weekends, Zach, these cars, these drivers, and these tracks are coming down to the wire. I think that's my favorite part. We saw a lot of action in the S's tonight. We're going to see more in 2 weeks. We're going to Road Atlanta, which has about 3 times the S's at 3 times the speed. And so these guys are going to be flying. Guys and girls out there are going to be trading paint, and hopefully not too many corners or control arms, but these Dallara F4 cars are going to need to be sturdy because we're going to go to a fast track next week. It's super awesome to see these drivers out competing and doing a really good job, representing their programs.
And a shout out to Alif especially and Ball State. I know Alif was not present for the first race of the season, our British Grand Prix at Oulton Park, but he has done an incredible job recovering from that off week. and has put together a string of incredible runs to where now I believe we're going to see one heck of a title fight between him, Nick Daly, who had some issues in sprint race number 2, as well as Ted Burns, who is your current points leader. But Alif certainly closed the gap this week with Ted Burns' absence, and I believe that this title fight is only going to heat up from here on out. And Josh, that time has come. Our Japanese Grand Prix has come to an end, and our Muhammad Alif has cemented himself among one of the CIL's top open-wheel drivers with his sweep tonight at Tsukuba. So congratulations again to Alif and to the Ball State University program. But now comes the time where we turn our sights to the most anticipated Grand Prix and circuit of the season, Round 5, my favorite track, Road Atlanta for the Atlantic Grand Prix. And every single driver, Josh, is ready and chomping at the bit to take on that roller coaster of a racetrack. But before we get there, we've got some more College Cup Series action returning on Monday night as our NASCAR Next Gen drivers prepare for our Southern 200 from Darlington Raceway. That'll certainly be an action-packed race full of stripes and action and passing and everything that you would expect out of our College Cup Series. And after that, next Wednesday, our Student Short Track Series heads up to South Boston Speedway for round 3 of that electric new series in the CIL. So be sure you don't miss out on any CIL action next week. Both of those events will be starting at 9 o'clock Eastern on our Twitch channels and YouTube channels. So be sure you don't miss that action because it's going to be intense. And I believe that'll wrap it up for all of us tonight and for this week's action in the CIL. And so from all of us here, myself, co-commentator Josh, and producer Matt, we want to thank you all for tuning in to tonight's Japanese Grand Prix for Formula C. And until next time, stay fast.